How's it going, folks? Jeff Benjamin with 9 to 5 Mac. This is iOS Decoded for iOS 26.5. So first and foremost, Apple has officially released support for end-to-end encryption for RCS. It is still in beta, but it is available for use publicly. Now, there are some caveats that you have to consider when using end-to-end encryption with RCS. First of all, you need to set it up. So if you go to Settings and then you go to Messages and you go down, scroll down to where you see RCS, you want to see it right here under text messaging. Just tap on RCS messaging, and there you'll see the option to enable end-to-end encryption. Now, as I stated, this is in beta, so it's not going to work for every carrier. Your carrier has to be supported. There's a list of supported carriers that we'll provide in the description as well. And what I found is that sometimes it just doesn't work. Even if both carriers support it, you have an Android phone, you have an iPhone, both support it, both on the latest releases for iOS and Android respectively. Sometimes it's just really finicky, and unlike an iMessage conversation where it's always end-to-end encrypted, you have to really kind of look at the fine print to make sure that your RCS conversation is encrypted. So you have to check every single time. But although it's not perfect, it's a nice start, and we're looking forward to seeing this feature grow and mature. So Apple in 26.5 is laying the groundwork for their release of ads in Apple Maps later this summer. You see the splash screen here. I don't know about you, but I hate this idea. I think it degrades the Maps app experience, and Apple's never been really that good with ads in general. Oh, fun fact, the code name for ads in Apple Maps, maybe it's just tongue-in-cheek, but it's called enrichment. No, seriously. And speaking of Apple Maps, there's a new suggested places in Apple Maps. So for instance, when you're browsing around the map and you open up the search bar and you tap in there, you're going to see suggested places listed below. And it's going to give you 2 of those suggested places at a time. You can swipe through, and you'll notice that as you move around the map, you're going to get obviously new suggestions based on the location or the area that you're currently around or surrounded by. So here, if I zoom into Chicago, it's going to present suggested items based on what's in view on the map currently. It'll also use suggestions based on your location. It'll use suggestions based on search. And sort of tying into the whole ads thing, Apple will actually be placing an ad in the suggested places as well. So you're going to get an advertisement in there once the ad network starts or ramps up within Apple Maps under suggested places. But overall, I think suggested places makes sense, but the cynic in me thinks that they just implemented this feature, or created this feature as a way to support the upcoming ads feature in Apple Maps. So iOS 26.5 supports new Inuktitut keyboard layouts. And I think I pronounced that right, Inuktitut. But this is a very interesting dialect spoken by people in the northern hemisphere, I guess, like in Canada and the Arctic region. So here you're going to find the Inuktitut keyboard layout here. So you just tap on that, and you're going to find 3 geographic locations like Nunavut, Nunavik, and Natilik, I guess. And from the best understanding that I can gather, these are all territorial regions in the northern Arctic area of Canada. Now, if any of you guys or gals watching this actually are from that area and speak this language, let me know down below in the comment section. But as you can see, it's a very interesting looking language. It's not a Germanic or Romance language with like letters of the alphabet that we may be familiar with here in the United States. But it's definitely very interesting looking, and you can see the layout here. You can switch around. Doesn't appear to be a ton of characters, but again, I'm super ignorant about this, so I don't really know if it's a tonal language or if there's other like factors involved. But I just think it's cool that Apple still like looks for ways to add more support for additional languages. I'm sure they have data as far as how many potential users would benefit from this in other languages. It would be really interesting to see the data behind this and how Apple goes about making decisions as to which new languages to add. And 26.5 allows you to mute missed FaceTime call notifications from unknown numbers. So we're going to open up FaceTime settings here, and we're going to scroll down until we come upon the call filtering section. So under call filtering, you see unknown callers. So these are unknown numbers that we receive FaceTime calls from. But now when you select to filter all unknown numbers, notice what you find now as an option. hide notifications. So when you receive a FaceTime call from an unknown number, the notification itself is now muted. So that is taking it to another step, being able to reduce the amount of spam and unwanted phone calls and FaceTime calls that you're receiving on your iPhone. And now when you long press on a time reminder that has come due, you get new snooze options. So now you get, as you can see here, remind me in 1 hour, or remind me at 9 a.m., or remind me tomorrow. Less ambiguous than it previously was. Like previously you would say like, remind me this evening or tomorrow morning or this afternoon. So you get a little bit more fine-grained, definitive time suggestions, at least in a few of the spots compared to before. Now in the Books app, Apple already has what they call reading goals, but as of 26.5, they're now introducing a sort of year-in review feature that's similar to what we have in Apple Music. But here you can see in the code some of the awards that Apple is going to be offering, like Golden Bookmark, or Listening Legend if you're an audiobook listener, or Reading Royalty, or the Power Reader, or the Lawyer Reader, or the International Reader, or the Endurance Reader. So there's all these different award levels, and they come with their own little boilerplate text, like for instance, put on your crown, your reading achievements were truly elite, your award, Reading Royalty, or what's new and buzzy, you always know, your award, the Social Reader. So stuff like that. That's basically what we can look forward to in the Books app. If you're a Books app user, I don't use Books at all. Do you guys? Let me know down below in the comment section what your thoughts are on this. So Apple is launching a new in-app subscription model for App Store apps. So basically this new model gives the option for developers to implement a monthly subscription with a 12-month commitment, resulting in more affordable payment options, month to month, instead of having to pay everything up front. So say the developer charged a $100 subscription. Well, now they can break that up over 12 months. Instead of the user having to pay that $100 up front, they could pay it, incrementally. So $8 and some change month to month. But users definitely want to understand this, because this isn't just a monthly subscription. This is a 12-month commitment. So anytime during your commitment, you cancel your subscription, that does not end your payment commitment. If you cancel your subscription before the commitment ends, you'll continue to be billed for remaining payments until that commitment is fulfilled, and you'll keep access to the service for the remainder of your commitment, but your commitment will not automatically renew. So just something to keep in mind there if you're thinking about doing this. It's still basically a 1-year subscription, right? It's just broken up month to month. And the transfer to Android feature that you're going to find under Settings, General, and under the Transfer or Reset iPhone option. You see it there below, Transfer to Android. This gets some new options within iOS 26.5. So this is already a thing, but now users get a little bit more fine-grained control over the data that they transfer. For instance, with messages, instead of having to transfer all the messages, you can now break it up over, I believe it's like the last 30 days, or basically incremental time period, so you don't have to just dump all of your messages over if you don't want to do that. So basically Apple and Google working together to add more fine-grained control to transfer to Android. Pretty cool. And iPad automatic pairing for Magic devices. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, Jeff, that's very small iPad. It's not an iPad. This is just a phone, but I'm doing this to demonstrate what this means for the iPad because I don't have my iPad with me. But basically, when you plug in a Magic device, like a Magic keyboard or a Magic trackpad or a Magic mouse, it'll work similar to how this works here when you plug in a DualShock controller or DualSense wireless controller, PS5 controller there. You can see it automatically pairs the Bluetooth when you connect it with a USB Type-C cable. So the same thing will happen with the iPad when you connect a Magic device with USB-C, Bluetooth will automatically be paired. Now, iOS 26.5 also has a couple of EU exclusive features, starting with notification and live activity forwarding. So notification and live activity forwarding are basically, they're a package deal, right? So this will allow your accessory to receive and display notifications and live activities from your iPhone notifications and live activities. So that includes app names, app content, which may contain personal information such as health data, location data, etc. So Apple wants you to be aware that this could introduce some sort of privacy issues as well if you decide to forward live activities and notifications to a third-party device. But you can see you can do none, limited access, you can pick and choose, or just go full access with all your apps, and it displays all the apps there for you. So in this particular example, I have basically allowed I am allowing full-on access. So what will this mean? Well, this means that the accessory that you're setting up will be able to receive and display all notifications and live activity alerts for the apps that you have currently on your phone and any app that you install in the future as well, which, probably is a good thing if that's what you want, to be able to receive notifications on for instance, Android smartwatch or whatever the case may be. You'll be able to do that if, yes, indeed, you're in the European Union. This is not available in other territories. EU users also get improved support for third-party devices with AudioAccessoryKit. So you can find new details over in Apple's documentation, their developer documentation for AudioAccessoryKit. But one of the things is this is going to enable third-party audio devices to support automatic switching like the AirPods, which is super cool. So again, Apple adding more support for third-party devices if you're in the EU. Now, as you might expect, iOS 26.5 not only includes tons of new bug fixes and improvements, but it also includes several, and when I say several, I mean like 50 plus different vulnerability and security fixes. So even if you aren't interested in any of the user-facing features, I highly would recommend upgrading to 26.5 based on all the bug fixes alone. I mean, look at all this. So yeah, Apple has included security fixes for over 50 different vulnerabilities in iOS 26.5 alone. So as you can see from this list, it is quite expansive and covers all sorts of different types of security issues and vulnerabilities. So again, just highly recommend upgrading for this fact alone. 9to5Mac also found new AI prompt strings in the private CoreUtils framework. Now, this framework is used by a bunch of things related to device pairing and wireless data transfer between devices. There's also a new TCC reminderPrompt feature flag. Now, TCC stands for Transparency, Consent, and Control, and it's a security framework in macOS and iOS that helps users manage permissions and privacy. So, for instance, think about those annoying screen recording permission alerts that you get in macOS. So, in this instance, it seems that Apple is using it to remind users about permissions that they've already granted in the past. So, there's a paranoid security policy property that enables the reminder prompt for that particular service. So, in other words, it looks like we're getting more of those paranoid security policies enabled for iOS like they are already in macOS. We also found the presence of new shortcut strings, and these strings seem to indicate a way to more directly connect to different apps via shortcuts. We also found a new extension with access to health data for Apple Intelligence. So this extension called Vermilion is directly related to Apple Intelligence and has access to a bunch of health data. And we found evidence that Apple's working on integrated discussion for its upcoming WWDC 2026 videos. So it's not currently clear how these discussions will be incorporated in the videos, whether they will be in line or what, but it definitely appears that Apple is adding some sort of discussion capability to its WWDC video lineup. So ladies and gents, that has been a look at what's new for iOS 26.5. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments section, and be sure to subscribe for more upcoming Decoded videos where we go deep diving into what's new in iOS. And if you like these videos, be sure to check out these others as well. This is Jeff Benjamin with 9to5Mac.